2017 Mid-American Conference Media Day here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm Greg Steiner. He's head coach Chris Creighton, and thanks for tuning in here. Coach, another year is upon us. It's hard to imagine summer's flown by so far, but fourth time here at MAC Media Day, and every year's kind of a little different as more people have wanted to talk about your team last year and moving forward this year with expectations.
It's a fun time of year. You know, everybody's undefeated, and it's just the height of excitement with the start of the season. You know, we start in less than a week. So it's fun to talk about, be with the guys for one, and then to talk about, you know, all the plans that we have and the vision that we have for the season.
I know it's a place here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame where you've been before, but for your student athletes, it's the first time they've ever been here. But surrounded by greatness, the Hall of Famers behind us, what does a place like this mean to you, and what football is really all about?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. You know, I have been able to take a couple different teams through here before, and, you know, I mean, you could almost do unlimited time because the history is so deep and so rich. And yeah, so it's just a perfect spot to have a media day, and there's probably not a single guy on our team that doesn't dream about playing the NFL and then ultimately wants to be here. So it's neat.
You have two guys with you, Jason Beck, defensively, that has moved positions this year as a DB now, as a linebacker, and kind of has grown up as a leader. And you also have Brogan Roback. What do each of them mean to you and your program?
They both mean a lot, no question. I mean, just starting with Jason, he was part of our first recruiting class. And, you know, one guy who didn't redshirt, so he's played his 4 years, so I've gone through his whole career together with him. And he was the first to get his letter of intent in, if you remember that first year from Indianapolis, where, you know, I've lived in Indiana for 11 years. So it's just been fun going through these 4 years with him. We're not done yet. Great human being and a great football player. He's a great student. And then Brogan, you know, Brogan beat both of us here by 4 or 5 months and started 4 games as a 4-star recruit, just a huge name. And, you know, here we are going into his 5th year now, and in my mind, he's everything that everybody, you know, hoped that he would be. He's the leader of our program and is undisputed, you know, starting quarterback, and is just has become a leader that, you know, both the team and I believe in, and are just really looking forward to seeing him, you know, continue to blossom this last year.
Football certainly cannot be played with just 2 individuals. It takes a whole team effort, and you got a lot of guys, the supporting cast of 16 starters from a year ago that return on offense and defense, and a really good crop of guys that are back this year that you get one more year with.
Yeah, you know, I think that there was a lot to celebrate last year, but ultimately all those guys who are coming back know that we fell short of our goal. And, you know, sometime early on in the winter, you know, we flipped that switch from, you know, basking in the little bit of glory that may have been there with the breakthrough and the hunger, you know, of wanting to prove to ourselves and to everybody else that it wasn't just a flash in the pan and lightning in a bottle, all the things that we keep hearing, and, you know, we want to prove that we're for real.
Moving back to kind of last year, it was the 1-0 mentality. Just worry about that week, and it's continued to permeate this year. I know you want to keep that mentality, but your hashtag for real is kind of become the thing. Not only is it your 4th real year at EMU, but it's also a chance to put others and remember that Eastern's just not a one-hit wonder.
You know, we are, and until this season happens. You know, that's the thing. You know, folks have a question mark there, and I get that because the season hasn't happened yet, and so that is what's motivating us to some degree, and that's our goal, is that, you know, we want to be better than we were.
One of the challenges this year is Rynearson Stadium will be the host of the AAU National Track Championships, and that forces you guys to change up camp a little bit. Also gone are two-a-days as well, and that has to affect your schedule. How do both of those things come into play?
Well, you know, our camp's long because we don't start school until after our first game. So I always thought that our camp was maybe even too long. The elimination of two-a-days, you know, with the additional week makes it even longer. And so we're trying to combat some things or combat that and try to feel as though it's shortening up. And one of the things is by going down to Xenia, Ohio and getting off campus for 4 or 5 days. And so change of venue and it would be a real camp experience in terms of our whole team being together and having a new normal routine for 4 or 5 days. But yeah, so there are some changes, but we've got, I think, a good plan for how we're going to attack it. It feels as though that our team has matured and you know, our guys know what we have to accomplish in camp. We're going to have some very specific goals for that, and so we'll take it one day at a time, you know, and be ready to go into the month.
Greg Steiner here with final question with head coach Chris Creighton at Media Day. And you look at this, and Charlotte will be here soon enough, September 1st at the factory. But I know we'll have plenty of time to digest, break down the individual kind of positions battles. But if people are getting ready, excited about football, and just want to get out to the factory, what can you expect to see from this team? And why should they come out again in droves like they did at times last year?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, our defense obviously skyrocketed if you just look at the rankings, you know, this last year. And I think one of the things that we're excited about is, although we graduated some impact players for sure, we've got a pretty salty group coming back. And you know, anytime that it's a year 2 in a system, there's more familiarity and maybe deeper confidence. And so might be able to go a little bit deeper into that defensive playbook and continue to improve. I think that would be one thing for sure. And then, you know, it's got a lot of mention, but, you know, Brogan with all of those weapons returning, you know, we have, I think you said 6 out of our 7 top receivers coming back, all of our running backs with the addition of Shaq being healthy and, you know, Bushman at tight end. And so a lot of weapons. And then, you know, our offensive line, we have 2 returning starters there, but guys who've been in our program and have been chomping at the bit to get going. And so, you know, feel good about that. And then, you know, Paul Fricano comes back with kicking, had a great year last year, was all conference. And, you know, our punt personnel comes back. You know, we'll have some competition at punter. But I think just our maturity and focus and the realization that special teams matter, you know, and win and lose football games. I think our program gets that now. And so, you know, we'll be locked in and focused as we prepare in that way as well.
Eagles pick 4th in the MAC West Division. They'll get everything going soon enough. Camp 1 week away. We'll have full camp updates as we continue on EMU Eagles and all our social media channels.